Yes, it's going to be a disaster.
I'm guarding with my life.
Maybe I should tape it right there.
We'll try to get those passed out to all of them
Everyone please stand for the presentation of colors and the playing of the national anthem. I'm pleased to present to you the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission Law Enforcement Division 57th Basic School.
Class, halt. Flag, face. Take seats.
Please be seated. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. I'm Lieutenant Mark Dutton. I'm the Training Director, School Director for the 57th Basic School for the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission. I'd like to welcome the family and friends to the ceremony. We have some elected officials here that I'd like to introduce. Representative Jamie Bowles, House of Representatives. We also have some partnering law enforcement agencies here. Thank you all for coming. We have some commissioners, some of our wildlife commissioners present today. Commissioners Crump, Clifton, Davis, Cogdell, Seegers, Stone, and Ruffin. Thank you all for being here. And thanks to everyone who has worked together for these 18 new law enforcement officers to reach the goal of becoming a North Carolina wildlife law enforcement officer. What an honor. Thank you for joining us today. We're extremely honored to have you here on this special occasion. I'd like to introduce a few special guests that we have on stage. Executive Director Cameron Ingram, Honorable Judge Skipper Creed, Colonel John Evans, Captain Chris Moore, Lieutenant Forrest Orr, Major Ben Meyer, Major Philip Lucas, Captain Sam Kraft. I'd also like to introduce the musicians we have today, the Munson family of our class leader, Jason Munson. Thank you all for being here today. It's very special. It's a very special occasion. We're very proud of all these officers today, and we look forward to celebrating with them. At this time, I'd like to ask Captain Chris Moore to come up and deliver the invocation.
Good afternoon. I know that you folks are excited about where you're going. A lot of unknowns and where you're going to go and what's actually going to take place. But your mission basically is going to be protecting the resources, public safety, promoting safety or safe and responsible boating. That's basically what you're going to be doing. Your job or mission will pull you in a lot of different directions with continued scrutiny from those that understand what you do and some of those that don't have a clue. There will be those who pull a segment of what you do out of context to say you should have done it another way, or maybe you shouldn't have done it at all. There'll be cameras everywhere. Everybody has a camera. There'll be critics with agendas that are watching everything that you do. Strangely enough, they'll probably never say anything when you've done it exactly right. I just say to you, remain professional, stay fair with all that you meet, keep dedicated to the mission, maintain your integrity at all times, be trustworthy to those that you serve with and to the public. Do what you do and do it as you should. Not because the possibility of scrutiny or cameras, just simply do it because it's right. Mark Esper said, stay focused on your mission, remain steadfast in your pursuit of excellence, and always do what's right. You'll hear that a lot of times throughout your career. But I want you to know that when you make decisions, always do what's right. You say, well, that's way too simple. As simple as it may be, it's what you're going to have to do. I know that you're not thinking about retirement. You're just starting. But finish your course right. Be always doing what is right. Paul the Apostle said in 2 Timothy chapter number 4 and verse number 7 and 8, he says, I've fought a good fight, I've finished my course, I've kept the faith. Henceforth, there's laid up for me a crown of righteousness. The root word of righteousness is the word right. He did it right. In the face of opposition, in the face of those who were critics, in the face of those who wanted to see him fail, he done what was right. As simple as that may sound. When I purchased my son's lifetime license, at the tagline at the bottom, I had them inscribe only this: do what's right. A few weeks ago, and it's pretty interesting that it happened this kind of in this time frame, he called me and talking about some things that were going on, and he's in the Navy now, and he's having to do a lot of moving around, and he asked me a question, and I said to him, I said, take your hunting license out and look at the bottom of it and call me back. He didn't call me back. He just sent me a thumbs up because he knew that he had to do what was right. Let's go to the Lord. Father, thank you for this time together. But Lord, as these folks embark on a career to do what you've called them to do, and Lord, I believe that it is a call. And I pray that you would give them safety through their journey, watch over them, that they may do the right thing. Lord, we have been teaching and instilling, and the books and all the stuff that they've gone through is all about getting them to the point of making good decisions when it becomes necessary. Help them along their path to make good decisions. And God, right now, thank you for the protection that you've put on the commission in the last few years, that we've seen very few major accidents and incidents. And you've really, really been good to us. Bless these folks as they embark their career. And we thank you for it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Captain Moore. Now I'd like to ask Captain Sam Craft to come up for a special presentation.
Good afternoon. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Sam Craft. I'm one of the firearms instructors that was fortunate enough to spend about 2 weeks with the class, teaching some of them how to shoot, trying to teach some of them to forget what they knew before they got there, type thing, but that's a conversation for another day. So I'm here to present the Top Gun Award. We give this award out to the student that had the highest average of written test and practical tests. So there was 4 written tests and several practical exams on the range. But before I get to the presentation of that award, I want to talk to you real quick just about a couple of things. So I spoke with you during the school about each instructor that came and presented a block of instruction to you, how each one of them felt like that the block of instruction that they were delivering was probably the most important block that there was. But I want you to remember this. Consider this. There's maybe only 2 professions in the entire world where you go to work with a gun on your hip. 2. There's lots of professions where people wear uniforms or wear badges. But there's generally only 2 that you go to work carrying a gun. I want you to remember that. Don't take that for granted, and realize the responsibility that comes with that. So I ask this of you. Hone your skills, stay sharp, stay vigilant. So with a score of 99.7, this can't be right, Mr. Jason Munson. You want me to hold on to this bag?
Thank you, Captain Kraft. Captain Kraft spoken briefly about some of the blocks of instructions and the curriculum. These students have spent the last 30 weeks of their life taking instruction in different types of blocks of instruction, different deliveries, over 60-something courses, well over 1,200 hours. A lot of things go into the 30 weeks that this course takes and regarding how tough this course is. So now I'd like to ask Lieutenant Forrest Orr to come up and present the academic award for having the highest overall GPA.
Thank you, Lieutenant Dutton. I had quite a lengthy speech prepared for all of you, but Lieutenant Dutton reined me back on that, so I'll keep it short and sweet. As Lieutenant Dutton has said, the Wildlife Basic School is very difficult both mentally and physically. Since December 29th of 2020, when these recruits started school, they've taken over 40 individual exams. They've taken the state exam, and they've been graded on 4 different physical assessments. We tallied the grade point averages for these 18 recruits, and from the highest grade point average to the lowest, there was only a difference of 7.5 points from the top of the class to the lowest grade point average. And that says quite a bit about the effort that all of these 18 students have put forth in their academic effort for this academy. At this time, we'd like to present the award to the recruit with the highest overall grade point average. And with a grade point average of 98, the award goes to Michael Lott.
Congratulations. Let's present you with this Dwayne Raver print. We'll keep it up here for you. Just give it a show.
You want to hold that?
Now I'd like to ask the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission Executive Director Cameron Ingram to please come up to speak to the class.
Thank you, Lieutenant Dutton. Good afternoon, everybody. What an exciting day. What a great start we had to today with the music. As already mentioned, it was what a wonderful start to a wonderful day. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to our distinguished guests, wildlife commissioners, wildlife staff, family, friends of this group of graduates, the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission Law Enforcement Division's 57th Basic School. I want to personally congratulate all 18 of you, each special individual joining an elite group of law enforcement professionals. As the agency's mission states, the Wildlife Commission conserves North Carolina wildlife resources and their habitats and provides programs and opportunities that allow hunters, anglers, boaters, and other outdoor enthusiasts to enjoy wildlife-associated recreation. Today, you will leave here upholding this important mission as one of the 220 elite officers with this agency. At the first of and only public contact of most of our constituents across the state, you are the face of this agency. And you will visibly represent our mission each and every day that you work with this uniform. You will assume the role of a navigator, fish biologist, wildlife biologist, teacher, rescuer, navigator, vet, mediator, and the list goes on and on. You must assume these responsibilities with pride and confidence every day. So what exactly does it mean about the patch that's on your arm today that you're wearing today? Of course, there's a long-standing tradition and history in our division, but more importantly, there are the core values it represents, which you embody daily: professionalism, fairness, integrity, dedication, and trustworthiness. It is dedication to our mission of this agency, to the protection of our public trust resources, to the duty of protecting and serving the public and our waterways. The stage has been set by all of you that have worn the uniform before you today, with their dedication and sacrifices, which has paved the way for you. I came fully to understand this shortly after becoming a wildlife officer in 1997. I was surrounded by officers who demonstrated excellence in the line of duty. Excellence was the standard, not the exception. The officers in my area set high expectations for me every day and refused to accept anything less than my best. I credit their leadership, respect, guidance, support, and service for teaching me what I needed to know to succeed as a wildlife law enforcement officer. Understand that it is now your time, your duty, and your responsibility to carry on the important work of this division. You must exude the confidence and pride that comes with earning the right to wear that uniform as a member of an elite team of officers who stand with you and by you every single day. In the upcoming weeks, each of you will report to a county, a specific portion of the state that needs your service. Remember the core values. Remember the officers that have served before you and their dedication to our mission every day. You experience challenges, as Cap Moore has pointed out, challenges every day that will test you throughout your career. Always do what's right. As Cap Moore said, you will hear this over and over. Always do what's right. Aldo Leopold, known as the father of wildlife management, once said ethical behavior is doing what's right when no one is looking, even when doing the wrong thing is legal. Do what's right. Graduates, you must work hard. You must stay safe and remember the important role as you feel as the face of this great organization. Appreciate the fact that the public looks to you to be the expert, the wildlife protector, the wildlife officer, and the game warden. And treat everybody fairly every day. Also take time to pause and stop and listen to the very things that you are there to protect every day. You have earned the right today to wear this uniform. You earned it through your service and your commitment to this school. Best wishes to each of you for a successful and rewarding career as a wildlife law enforcement officer. And most importantly, thank you for choosing the Wildlife Resources Commission as a career. I look forward to seeing you in the field. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Ingram.
All right, at this time, we are going to present the certificates and the badges. Tyler Barber. Christopher Blankenship. Jacob Bosley. Sarah Campbell. Aaron Carter. Joshua Doshin. Jacob Dyer. Zachary Hayes. Andre Jones. Kirby Lambert. Michael Lott. Justice McCormick. Jason Munson. Devin Schaefer. Walker Shelton. Damon Smith. Thomas Weaver. Aaron Warax.
We're honored today to have with us Judge Skipper Creed. Judge Creed is a longtime friend, someone I consider to be a very fair and honorable judge. I'll speak a little bit about our relationship in just a minute, but I'll like to give a brief bio on Judge Creed. He was born in Laurinburg, North Carolina. He grew up in Bladen County. His father was a family physician who had a gun shop in the back of his office in Elizabethtown. His father was also a North Carolina wildlife rehabilitator. So he grew up around animals, grew up hunting and fishing in the outdoors since a very young age. He graduated high school from Harold's Christian Academy, also UNC Wilmington from college, and Mississippi College School of Law, where he met his wife. He's been an assistant district attorney in Hoke and Scotland counties. He's also had private practice in criminal and civil defense, criminal defense and civil law. And he's been a district court judge for 15 years. In 2017, he was appointed by Chief Justice Martin of the North Carolina Supreme Court to be the Chief District Court Judge for District 19D, encompassing Moore and Hoke counties. He's been married for 22 years to his wife, Laura. They reside in Southern Pines, North Carolina. He has two sons, Sam and Ben, 13 and 17 years old. And his whole family has a love of the outdoors. He and his sons all have lifetime sportsman license. I met Judge Creed probably 15, 16 years ago in the courthouse at Moore County when he was first elected. It was nice to have a judge that understood and appreciated wildlife law. So when we go in with our cases, we could always count on Judge Creed to be very fair and impartial in his deciding on the verdict. He's also been a family friend. Our kids went to preschool together, played sports together, and grew up together. They're about the same age. Our boys are about the same age. So I appreciate Judge Creed being here. I'd like to ask him to come up at this time.
Good afternoon, everyone. To the ladies and gentlemen in the room, the officers in the room, the dignitaries in the room, Chief Deputy Manus, the Moore County Sheriff's Department, Representative Jamie Bowles, others in the room, as well as one person in this room has probably known me the longest. Literally has known me probably since high school, Commissioner Ray Clifton here, Wildlife Commissioner for North Carolina, one of the Wildlife Commissioners. Thank you for coming today. It's absolutely shocking to see you. I haven't seen you in about 10 years. You're getting old. I guess I am too. And to the officers in the front row, deep breath, it's almost over. But, and to all the officers in the room, I have a world of respect for what you do. You guys work incredibly hard. As I was telling the wildlife officers, it's important that they explain how they would go about what they do to the young assistant DAs, the judges, the defense attorneys. There are just not many out there anymore, at least around here, that hunt and fish. And they don't know how much work you put into what you do. I kind of compare what y'all do to kind of like, well, on TV, the narcotics officers that they have to, investigate, watch a site, figure out what's going on, and then literally, it's like still hunting for a deer, a big buck. You got to go out, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks before you catch that big buck walking out in the morning to harvest. but except for y'all are looking for folks that are violating wildlife law, and I appreciate what y'all do. You know, we do want to mention something to you about Commissioner Clifton. Knowing him since high school, whatever he tells you, take a grain of salt with it. You know, most of it's probably true, a little shocking, but true. But I'm glad to have all y'all here. At this time, it is an honor and a privilege to be here. I'll go on and give the oath of office at this time. And with that in mind, or oath of office, the oath for your position. And do you want to?
Prepare to stand. Ready, to.
All right. Repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. That I will support and maintain. The Constitution and laws. Of the United States. And the Constitution and laws of North Carolina. Not inconsistent therewith. And that I will faithfully discharge. The duties of my office. As a law enforcement officer. So help me God. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. That I will be alert and vigilant. To enforce the criminal laws. Of this state. That I will not be influenced. In any manner. On account of personal bias or prejudice. That I will faithfully and impartially. Execute the duties of my office. As a law enforcement officer. According to the best. Of my skills, abilities, and judgment. So help me God. Congratulations.
Ready, ready, two. Take 6.
Thank you, Judge Creed. At this time, I would like to introduce the class representative to deliver his response on behalf of the class. It is my pleasure to introduce Officer Andre Jones.
Good afternoon, everyone. To the distinguished guests, instructors, staff, officers, friends, family, and most importantly, to the 57 graduating class of the Wildlife Resources Commission. I am honored to deliver this speech on behalf of the entire class by first off thanking God for this amazing opportunity and occasion, as well as thanking everyone who was able to join us in celebrating this special day. This experience has been a long, arduous journey, but it has been the experience of a lifetime. Making history as the first ever class to be held at Samarkand Training Facility, the staff was amazing, and we appreciate the welcome and stay. I know we're the first and hopefully last class to experience this journey amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Though we all can look back on all the hilarious Marshall Development moments, silent lunches, and whispering without showing our mouths, we are greatly appreciative for the protective measures taken to keep us safe. Who knows where we would be without the mask? Each and every single person within the 57th class has proven the dedication, determination, along with steadfastness, grit, and hard work will lead to the fulfilling end. And this entire journey has been a lesson in motivation and perception. We have collectively learned to believe that if you change your perception, life could be much easier. If we see criticism, tough, and demanding physical activity as impossible and unbearable, then it would seem as brutal as we perceive it to be. On the contrary, if we change our perception, then regardless of the pain and mental challenges, we can overcome any unimaginable obstacle. I have been blessed to spend 29 vigorous weeks with some of the most interesting people I have ever seen, met, all of the above. And we're a true testament that motivation, determination, and teamwork are all key when trying to achieve a goal with 18 different individuals and 18 various backgrounds. I am proud to say we stayed true to accomplishing that goal. We never allowed each other to fail. We encouraged each other heavily because we were all motivated by different reasons, not by what we thought could be done, but instead what we knew could be done and who we knew we would become throughout this academy. I oftentimes compare life to a race. One of my favorite music artists describes it as a marathon. Apostle Paul, a disciple of Christ, described it as a sprint. Life slowly shows us that it's not about finishing the fastest. Instead, it should be viewed as enduring as you finish. I've stressed to us all throughout this academy that everyone's race is not the same. Therefore, we can't allow ourselves to be locked in the ideal of comparison. Comparison is the thief of contentment. Being content does not always mean you have chosen to settle, but instead, you understand that where you are now is where God needs you to be in the moment. It is important to remember and know that God blesses people who operate in contentment, because it's a sign that you have decided to trust in Him and the will He has authorized over your life. I compare this to us, especially knowing how we doubted the process from the beginning, to then slowly realizing everything is set in place for a reason. The more we matured during the school, we began to understand that where we start does not mean we will not achieve what we someday aspire to be. The great Mark Dutton, he always said, there's a method to the madness. And it was just hard to believe how instrumental that statement was to our slowly transforming lives. The greatest peace I personally gained was contentment, which allowed me to be sincerely joyful about what God has been doing in my life. Today, as I applaud the 57th class, I'm sincerely able to celebrate our success because I understand now everything we experienced, learned, and endured was a part of their plan. This taught us to strive and reach in the end while remaining joyful and embracing the suck in the present. We've heard numerous stories and expectations set forth by instructors and staff. And now, we're confident and able to write our own narratives. We understand the job before us, and we are well prepared to tackle whatever comes our way. So to the families, trust me when I say we will be okay in these new careers. Just to name a few, the TASER training, in which I still don't understand how the TASER instructors made a 5-second deployment feel like 30 minutes. Also, along with the in-class education, hands-on training, boxing, ground fighting, which showed us that even throughout pain, sweat, fatigue, bloody noses, and even tears, we can push through. The burning of the gas chamber, firearms, simunition, physical training with a lot of miles ran, a lot of push-ups done, and don't forget to ask the class about me during swim week. All of these helped shape us into the men and women that you all see here today. And I can ensure that everyone who instructed us during these 7 months made it to their utmost priority that we were knowledgeable and well prepared. and I hope that we've all made you very proud. December 29, 2020 will forever remain a special date in my life. We all arrived at San McCann as normal civilians, and today, July 20th, 2021, we have been blessed to leave as wildlife law enforcement officers. For the past year and a half, beginning with the application process, we remain dedicated to see it through the end. From where we began to where we are today, we can say that we will soon be great representations of a true professional, always being fair, staying dedicated, adhering to the highest standards of integrity, and earning trustworthiness to be able to effectively establish a good rapport with the public. Each of these core values of the Law Enforcement Division were constantly demonstrated to us. These values were also instilled in us, molded, and polished by each instructor who has helped us throughout this school. Each instructor has been an outstanding teacher, mentor, friend, and models of what it truly means to be a game warden. And for that, you're greatly appreciated. With that being said, it feels so great to finally publicly say, Officer Walker Shelton, if you would, please join me on stage.
How are y'all doing? At this time, I would like to thank all the instructors who have so graciously given their time, knowledge, and experience to us recruits throughout this academy. In particular, I would like to thank our training director, Lieutenant Dutton, our assistant training director, Lieutenant Orr, and Captain Jones for everything they have done for this class. From the early morning PT sessions to the late night training exercises, these three men have been instrumental in making this class and academy a success. As a token of our gratitude, at this time, I would like to present each of you with a custom rustic wooden flag displaying the thin green line, the enforcement logo, and each of your names. Thank you to Officer Lawrence for constructing these flags for our class. Though we can never fully repay you all and each one of you for all you have done for us and for our class, we hope these serve as a reminder of our gratitude. At this time, could Lieutenant Dutton, Lieutenant Orr, and Captain Jones please come forward?
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
To the families of everyone, you will never be appreciated enough. We would not have made it to this great day without the emotional support, love, and praise from each of you. The support has been amongst us as a family, but the backbone support from home is like none other. Thank you for the steady encouragement to keep us pushing 100%, and as well as uplifting to keep our spirits high even when the times were very difficult. We are beyond grateful. Finally, to my sisters and brothers of Class 57. In the beginning, at some point, we all felt as if we were individual puzzle pieces, just not fitting. We felt as if we were trying to fit our personal piece into a puzzle where it did not belong. This caused anger, frustration, brought tears to our eyes, and a lot of doubt. But as time progressed and our dedication, determination, and support of one another grew, our once misfitting pieces finally began to bond. Though at times it seemed like the hard heads became more hard, and the silent lunches kept becoming even more funny, we made it. We began this journey as misfitting pieces with specific talents, knowledge, and various backgrounds. But today, we're leaving here as a family and a complete puzzle. We must remember that we finally accomplished dreams and goals to be blessed with the opportunity of now joining an even larger family, which we worked very hard to be a part of. I have but one request. Beginning today, remain humble and motivated in all you do. Continue to push yourselves and give 100%. When times get difficult, remember to change your perception and embrace the suck. And keep in mind that we will prevail and we are capable of far more than we realize. We completed the basic school by becoming stronger together. And now we've joined an even larger family where we are now far more stronger together. Again, thank you all for the opportunity. I wish each and every one of you the very best from here on out. Thanks for trusting in me, as well as allowing me to be able to trust in you. Here's to a successful career. Class 57, what are we?
Stronger together.
Thank you.
Thank you, Officer Jones, Officer Shelton, and each and every one of you. At this time, I would like to ask Colonel John Evans to give his final comments and final charge of office.
I'm Colonel John Evans. I'm the Chief of the Law Enforcement Division of the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission. I'll make my comments brief because I know the 57th Wildlife Academy has taken their oath and they're ready to celebrate this day with their friends and family. You've worked incredibly hard for the past 30 weeks and we are all very proud of you. Mr. Jones, you're going to be a hard act to follow. I appreciate your comments very much. I remember coming to Samarkand in the classroom with all of you back in January for the first day that I was there. And I'm sure most of you remember that day, and I'm sure you remember that the atmosphere wasn't near as festive as it is today. In fact, I looked upon your faces that morning, and I could tell you that the tension in the room was so thick that you could cut it with a knife. If you remember that morning back in January, I explained the why behind everything you would experience in our training academy. I think you would all agree that from the very beginning we have been completely transparent with you about the training you would undergo if you accepted the position of a wildlife law enforcement officer with our agency. If you remember, I told you that you would reach graduation day if you made the decision that morning to wake up at our academy each day and give us 100%. Go to sleep at our academy that night, wake up, and do it all over again the next day. I told you that we would do the same for you. I told you that graduation day would be a great day, that you would be here with your families and you would be proud of your accomplishments. I told you that if you graduated from our academy, you would have completed something to be proud of for the rest of your life. I told you to work as a team at all times and to encourage one another and help one another through your own individual challenges. Well, I'm proud to say that the 18 new officers sitting in front of me today have all completed this part of their journey to becoming a North Carolina wildlife law enforcement officer. You've shown dedication and determination for the past 30 weeks that culminates today with each of you being sworn in as a wildlife officer. Approximately 1,200 people applied to be hired to the 57th Wildlife Academy. 20 individuals started training in December, and today 18 of you have just been sworn in as North Carolina's newest law enforcement officers. You've been sworn in as a law enforcement officer into an agency whose mission is to conserve North Carolina's wildlife resource and their habitats and provide programs and opportunities that allow hunters, anglers, boaters, and other outdoor enthusiasts to enjoy wildlife-associated recreation. As wildlife law enforcement officers, you will have opportunities to educate people on conservation, teach hunting and boating education classes, assist in natural disasters, and perform countless other exciting duties across our state. As you perform these duties, I want you to remember what I believe everyone remembers about their interactions with law enforcement officers. It holds true no matter what agency you work for or what the circumstances of the interactions happen to be. And I know our veteran officers have heard this so many times, they may get tired of hearing it, but I never get tired of saying it because it's that important. People are going to remember how you treat them and how you make them feel. As wildlife law enforcement officers, you'll spend a great deal of time contacting people on a face-to-face basis and interacting with them in many different situations. Sometimes you will approach them and initiate contact with them. Other times they will approach you because they want to talk with you about hunting, fishing, boating, or trapping, report a crime, show you the largemouth bass they just caught, the deer their child just harvested, or to ask your opinion about the new crossbow they just purchased. By far, the clear majority of people you will encounter are people that are enjoying hunting, angling, boating, and other wildlife-associated recreation. They will look to you to be the experts in all things outdoor related. Other times, you will encounter people that are violating the law. You've been trained well on how to handle these situations, and you have a wide range of options on how to deal with these incidents. I know you will make the correct decisions. The one thing that I can guarantee you is that for every one of those encounters, the one thing those individuals will remember about you is how you treated them and how you made them feel. Not only will they remember, but they will tell the story of how you treated them and how you made them feel to many, many people that they encounter. They're going to tell those stories at the local country store, their hunting club, at church, and to everyone in the community where they live. Now, those stories are often told on social media in real time as the encounter is happening. Your reputation as a wildlife officer and as a member of the community will be shaped by the stories these individuals tell about you. The reputation of the entire North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission will be shaped by the stories people tell about you and how you treated them. We've all heard negative stories about law enforcement throughout our lives. Many of these stories are either embellished or completely false. However, the unfortunate thing is, some of them are true. I have asked every wildlife law enforcement officer in this state to treat the individuals that they encounter in the same manner that they would want a law enforcement officer to treat a member of their own family under similar circumstances. Today, I am asking each one of you to do the same. Hunters, anglers, boaters, stranded motorists, journalists, other law enforcement officers, and the public at large will talk about the way you treat them. Don't ever let those negative stories be about you. It is unrealistic to think that every encounter you have with the public will end in a handshake, but the truth is, you can end most of them in a handshake. Several years ago, our officers were tasked with identifying the core values of our division. These values were discussed and debated at length. The core values identified by our officers were professional, fair, integrity, dedicated, and trustworthy. These are the values we believe represent professionalism in conservation law enforcement. Treat everyone according to these core values, and it will launch you into a successful career as a wildlife officer. Each of you just received a challenge coin from me. On the coin, you will find a phrase that we often use with great pride to describe ourselves. It says law enforcement off the pavement. Today, that is what you are. You've been trained well, and we stand ready to support you as you move into the next phase of your training. I trust you to use your training to always make the best decisions and to make sure the stories that people tell about you embody our core values. Congratulations on your accomplishment. Be smart and stay safe. Before I finish, I want to say some special thank yous that I didn't plan on. But when I walked in, I heard some beautiful music and found out that our musicians today are the family of now Officer Munson. So I want to thank y'all personally for being here today, and that is, I'm going to try to get it right, Taylene, Justice, Liberty, Aurora, and Maxwell Munson. Thank you so much. We've enjoyed your music. Thank you for supporting Officer Munson and our agency by being here today. It was great. Furthermore, this year has been pretty special. We have talked about having our training at Samarkand probably since I became colonel in 2014 or even possibly before that. Representative Bowles, I remember talking with you about this, I think prior to 2014 in Raleigh. So thank you for your support and your encouragement of this partnership between the Wildlife Commission and Samarkand. It has exceeded our expectations. I see Mr. Sturdivant and Mr. Kimbrell here today, which is staff at the Academy. Thank you so much for joining us. It has been a great partnership. And is there other staff from the Academy here? I thought so. Thank y'all for coming. It means so much to me that you have a relationship with our officers that you want to come and support us today. Thank you for being here. I want to thank our commissioners. Y'all have been instrumental in helping this partnership with Samarkand formed as well, and so supportive of it. And it's going to be very good for us, and I hope it's good for Samarkand as well. So thank you. And last, I want to thank, I cannot even begin to name them all, every Wildlife Commission employee that helped make this school possible, from everybody that's made sure you've got tablecloths and Bibles and oaths and pens and food and ammunition and uniforms. It is a huge effort, and thanks everyone that works for our agency that could make today happen. And the most important thank you to me is thank you to the families and the friends that have come here today to support these officers. They could not have made it through the past 30 weeks without your support, and they're going to continue to need it throughout their career as a North Carolina wildlife officer. It's a very challenging job, but it's a very rewarding job, and we need the family supports as well. So thank you for being here. And that concludes my remarks. Thank you very much. Lieutenant Dutton.
Thank you, Colonel. Wow, we made it. I think you can exhale a little bit now, because I can, finally. It's been a long year. This time last year, you showed up to Samarkand for your initial assessments, not knowing exactly the extent of the journey that you were about to take. And I promised Mr. Jones that if he didn't get emotional in his speech, that I wouldn't get emotional in mine, but he failed, so I'm probably going to fail too. So it's been a very trying year for all of us, and if you would have asked me a year ago, I would have probably not been too sure that we would even have a school. Facilities were closing, facing capacity limits, executive orders that almost forced us to have to cancel. Fortunately, our DPS partners and the Samarkand Training Academy stepped up and gave us the opportunity to make it happen. Thank you so much. This was a year of first for many of us. The first school at Samarkand, the first school during a global pandemic, my first school as the actual school director, Lieutenant Orr and Captain Jones' first school in their new positions. Not to mention all the limitations and safety guidelines that we had to take. But we did what we do and overcame those obstacles, and now we are here today to recognize these 18 fine officers on their accomplishments. Being a parent, there's no greater reward than to see your children accomplish great things and milestones in their lives. I am thankful for my children, and I'm always proud of their achievements. One of my children is here today with my wife, and I thank them for their support. A lot of early mornings, late nights, nights away from home, and other things, and I wouldn't have been possible without their support. Today, I truly feel like a proud parent of 18 new children. I could not be more proud of what you all have done for the past 6 months and the sacrifices that you have made to become North Carolina Wildlife Officers. When you arrived on December 29th, I told you that it was not going to be easy, that we did not just hand out badges and uniforms without them being earned. I'm sure you understand that now and are part of the proud officers that get to wear this uniform. My responsibility was to make sure that you receive the best training possible before you get out in the field. I think you would all agree that that is what you received. I can't thank our fine team of instructors enough for the job they did to prepare you for this day, and we have some of the best instructors that you could ask for. A lot of them are here today, and I thank you very much. You've been held to the highest standards of law enforcement officers in the state, and going forward, if you continue to hold yourself to those standards and fall back on your training, you will have a long and successful career. In the current climate that we face today, it is even more evident that training and professionalism is the foundation that can decide not only life or death, but career survival. You have all been given the foundation, and I encourage you to continue to build on it and remain solid and steadfast in your resolve. You have all proven yourselves, and I trust that you will. I'm proud to welcome each of you to the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission Law Enforcement Division as sworn officers, and wish you all the best as you embark on your 6-month field training assignment. You will all be in great hands, and I would like to thank our field training officers who are present today for their commitment to these officers and for the sacrifices they have to make to provide the highest quality training available. I have the utmost faith in each one of you. So, here's to no more, hopefully, PPEs, social distancing, temperature checks, closed facilities, COVID-19 safety questions, ER visits, room capacities, hand sanitizer, disinfectant spray, and those rapid COVID tests. There are so many people and organizations that I'd have to thank. Colonel thanked a lot of people, but I'm going to back it up. The First Baptist Church of Pinehurst for hosting the 57th Basic School graduation. They stepped up and offered a facility to us when we were limited on the facilities available. The ladies of the church for preparing the reception. The faculty and staff at the DPS San Marcan Training Academy, especially Secretary Hooks and my friend, Director Rick Jordan, for being such a gracious host. We continue to keep Rick in our thoughts, and we all remain San Marcan strong. We look forward to a long and continued relationship. Our other partners that were instrumental in assisting us in many ways, including facilities and instruction, the North Carolina Justice Academy at Salemburg, Campbell University, the North Carolina State Highway Patrol and the driving instructors, the North Carolina ALE, the North Carolina SPI, the Pinehurst Police Department, Halifax County Sheriff's Office, Camp Caswell, and the North Carolina Marine Fisheries. And I'm sorry if I left anyone out. There was a lot of people that went on behind the scenes to make this happen. I would also like to thank our employees of the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission from other divisions that assisted with the hiring process, training, and instructions. It is truly an agency-wide collaborative effort, and we appreciate what they have done for the Law Enforcement Division. A lot of those folks are here today, and I thank you. The team of law enforcement instructors, drill team, honor guard, and other officers that assisted during the school, our special guest musicians, the Munson family for sharing their talents with us, our support services team, and especially Lieutenant Orr for being very instrumental in the process. I appreciate everything you've done. Some of the folks from behind the scene, Tammy Rundle, Carla Thompson, Hannah Hoffman, thank you all for what you've done to allow for this day to be so successful and special. I now present to you the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission, Law Enforcement Division, officers of the 57th Basic School.
Prepare to stand. All now, eight.
And for the final time, officers of the 57th Basic School, class dismissed.
Forward,
This concludes our graduation ceremony. If you would please join us next door in the Fellowship Hall for a reception honoring these officers' accomplishments. Thank you all again, and God bless. You did it.
You're about to lose a certificate. About to lose a certificate.
Take them to the, take the boots.
You want me to take that? Yeah, of course. You want me to take that?
It's nice to see you tired faces.
How are you, sir?
Thank you, Greg. Hey, come stay, have some food with us. We got plenty. Trust me, come hang out. Speak to some of them. Thank you.